Good morning. Welcome to Options Tender. It is Friday. Welcome, everybody. October 25th, 2024. We're going to go through SPY on multiple time frames. This shouldn't be a very long video because we had new highs in the Qs. We just kind of have to wrap our head around the divergence that's happening between the Qs and SPY. We thought it was going to be opposite, in the short period that SPY would be relatively stronger, but it actually changed today with the Tesla being bullish yesterday and kind of following through today. We don't have good breadth in the market. We're over complacent and put to call ratio. So there's some indicators here that this move is false. So don't get too bullish up in there. We're going to go around the horn on the 65 and we'll show what's happening. So we're doing this intraday. I already did a members video on big tech. So if you're interested in that, then you can consider becoming a individual analysis supporter, YouTube member supporter, not Patreon, YouTube. Okay, so I'm having trouble getting those videos to Patreon members, right? So here we go. We have SPY on the monthly time frame. We have 2000 top, 21 top. We're forming top in 24. We have negative divergence heading up here. I'm not going to show all those because we got to move on. So we'll see. We're still above everything. We'll see how this candle ends. Right now, no information there. Just you could tell that's an ending diagonal right there, just by looking at it. On the weekly time frame, rejecting off of the top of the channel there, potential channel. We don't have a bottom yet here. So that trend line, rejecting off of it, getting a nice big hangman candle. So if we end the day just like this and end the week just like this, this is a hangman candle. Okay, so can you get further? Of course you can continue to move. This can be considered a bottoming tail candle as well, but likely when you're in all these divergences and things like this happen, it's kind of like that. And that's an evening star or whatever, dragonfly, doji, all sorts of fun names for these Japanese candlesticks. But the whole point is a lot of dip buyers got in here and they're pushing the price up. People are getting in it and this reverses on them, and it's called the hangman. That's where it comes from. So targets hit, got above, still potentially in a bullish setup. Came back to the 8 EMA, and that's where it's getting the big move off of that. But I think we'll get our reversal next week. We'll see if something happens today. We're already getting some sort of rejection today, but we'll see where that ends up. So time relationship, not much until the end of December. So we have time to think about those. Let's go to the daily. All right, so we're looking at the first bearish rising wedge broke down and forming a new wedge up here. And so filling out that wedge a little bit more, we had a push off of yesterday and the day before yesterday off the 20, and that's the 20 moving average. So that's a trend indicator. And it's too late to get bullish in this, in my opinion, even if price wanted to go up here to 587. But right now, we have a divergence here. We have a high in SPY. Remember, this was a divergence between SPY and QQQ. The Q's got a lower high here while SPY had a higher high. So that's the mind frame we were in. And now we're getting a lower high at this point. So I'll show you how I'm counting that. Again, those Elliott waves are speculative, but so we're getting rejection off here, rejection candle. We'll see where that ends up. We're still above the 8 EMA, and we're getting a lower high here. That's the whole point of that. And we already have negative divergence in SPY. So let's go over to the Qs on the daily real quick, and then we'll go down to the 65 and go around the horn there. And the Qs in the near term today made a divergence, made a high here, higher high in price, a lower high in MACD, RSI, slow stoke, it's very negative. This move it's a false move. So if you're in it, great. I'm glad that you were bullish, and I just wouldn't stay in it. So I was in the camp of this being a 1-2-1-2 setup, and clearly I was wrong about that. I actually took off hedges yesterday going into the 8 EMA, and yeah, we're taking a dent in our portfolio, but we have plenty of time. As a matter of fact, we added onto somebody that is in the Discord with Pat there. We added on some puts going into next week, which is my most near-term puts right now after this move. So all of it's layered in from 11/1 all the way to January, folks. We are January 15th, I believe. We're layered into puts. No more, well, not, I have VIX calls, UVIX, and Boeing. We're still looking at Boeing here, so waiting for it to take off again. Okay, so going back to SPY. All right, we have our target hit up here. So far, we're getting a lower high. I suspect this is a 1-2 setup here now with the weakness. And we'll see if we get that continuation. So I'm still looking for this kind of pattern to happen. I think this will be fairly sharp. So we're looking at end of, and this will change at any time, depending on how much time we have left. We're looking at the end of November, or maybe the end of December for this move to play out. But this is a huge move here. So I suspect that we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll probably extend this into kind of like this range. Like we'll get a nice big move, and that might be our wave 1 kind of thing. Wave 2. And because this is such a good support resistance, and this could play out differently. This could be the one that gets here, then we get a bounce, and then 2. So this changes at any time, but I suspect this is a 1, 2. We get a nice big 3, 4, 5, and we'll go to the 65 and kind of examine a little bit better, because now we can have a target here. We can't on the Qs because the Qs made a new high, so we don't have enough information. If this is a lower high here, now we can project on SPY. So let's stop diddle-daddling around. We have, in the near term, the end of October, we have some sort of cluster here. So we'll see where price is when we come into that cluster. So let's go to the 65. And on the 65, again, I'm giving Pat the shout out here because we've been kind of communicating on the Discord. And by the way, feel free to join the Discord. I'm trying to be there as much as possible these days, so we can kind of communicate what's happening. Sean, it's a good place to talk with other traders and kind of knock things back and forth instead of just me. So this is a bearish rising wedge. We broke down from this wedge, and he said, hey, man, you could probably back test that wedge again, right? I said, yeah, it doesn't have to, because I didn't really believe it was going to, but it did, and he nailed it. And so we're going to reversal off of the former wedge there, and we just have the benefit of the doubt point right here, this lower one. So that's where we got the push off of there as well, and that's with the 20 moving average also. So this is the secondary sell signal. That was the first, and now we break this, and I think we start accelerating and speed there. So let's go ahead and measure out what our move is on SPY. So I'll use the previous one that we had here. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. So previously we were trying to get this move. Now I kind of mentioned it yesterday that this could be excuse me, a 1-2 setup here, where this is a leading diagonal. So made up of 3 waves. We have ABC for 1, 2, ABC for 3, 4, and 5, and you see how price expanded. So today at the 25th, it appears we're getting a high. Okay, so we can take this one. this relationship off. And now we're looking for where's wave 3. Okay, so we want to see, we got this whole length of this entire move. This is one move to us. And now the retracement all the way back here. And I can take out these. This doesn't matter anymore. So that's a 1, 2. And then we're looking for wave 3 to come into the 162. And that's beautiful. It comes down to this 565 area. Good symmetry. And we could see at the end of October 30th, you know, this move could last until there. Maybe that's a low, get a little bounce, and then continue to wave 5. I don't know where the 5 is. There it is, way down there. I don't think that's going to be the case, but and wherever this ends up, we'll have to look at and compare different points of the chart. But on the traditional technical analysis, but so far I think we have a 1-2 setup, and we start to move. Now, with that said, Qs need to start some sort of structure too. So maybe SPY gets a 1-2, and then some sort of 1-2 going into the beginning of the week, and while the Qs kind of catch up. So so we're looking at the 565 being that initial target there. And then on the Qs, this is what we showed in the Discord. Showed the wedge filling out, and price could, by the end of the day, sure, it could go a little bit higher. You have a point or two, but really looking at probabilities, we just don't have much left. Not much left going on. So in the big scheme of things, we're diverging with, you know, SPY had, Qs have a top here, and we're getting a lower high potentially here. Okay. And SPY had a brand new high. Okay. So on the big scheme, we're getting divergence with tech on the larger time frames, negative divergence with tech, but on the micro time frame, we're diverging with the overall market, while tech is a little bit relatively stronger here. Okay, and so once this breaks down, again, that's going to be a great sell signal there. And what we'll have to do, we have to move these over now. We have negative divergence, so I mean the top is likely in today or near today, and now we have to form structure again. All right, so this 1-2 setup on the main scheme of things on a larger time frame, but in a lower time frame, we still need to form a 1-2 setup here, and we don't have that yet. So we don't have any information that gives us a 1-2 where it pulls back, and so this being the wave 3 of the starting wave 3. And really, in the big scheme of things, on SPY, it's starting wave 1. Okay? I don't want to go way too far off. So this might not get much pullbacks here. So I'm probably not going to play any big hedges when this starts to go, because this is going to be wave 3 of 3. This is going to be wave 1 of the larger scheme 3, and so this should be a pretty devastating move. Starts here, and we're not going to go through the whole thing, but we're certainly going to reach these lows here and surpass them. So this is a wave 1 and a wave 2, and we have a long way to go, a very long way to go on once we get this turn. On SPY, we're just now breaking down for the first wave 1. All right, and somewhere down the line, that's going to come together between SPY and the Qs. Okay, it's gonna come together, and those are gonna move pretty much in sync there. IWM kind of breaking down here, making lower highs. That's another lower high here. Just weak. You know, I got another move up today, but maybe to 382, I believe, and that's it. So just weak Small caps are weak. Made it almost up to the 50, but it still potentially could hold us up a little bit. And because they have some potential upside, DIA has potential upside. It's right down here low. So what I think this is doing here in the DIA is making an A, B, C. So some sort of flat pattern here. So I wouldn't suspect that this breaks down any lower coming into the next few days, even though it's shown weakness today. But I think the Qs should start taking over at this point and start dragging everything with it. SMH, it's the same thing. I said the high is in, and what we mentioned yesterday, again, I wasn't sure, but hey, we said it, and it happened that way. So this still is the initial move down. So this is a wave one, and now we're getting A, B, C, and so this A is very symmetrical to C. We're getting this, so this is why price isn't moving any further. Right here. Could it go further? Yeah, of course it could go further. So we broke down, by the way, we broke down from this wedge, back tested, and now we're just getting a sideways move right here. And see, that's where A equals C, right at this 100%. So that's why we're getting a little bit of resistance there. So I suspect this is just about done, and this continues on to wave 3. So again, this is, in the scheme of things, this is a 1-2 setup. So you have this initial wave 1 and this wave 2. And this is how we had it drawn before, where we had 1 and 2 was in. That expanded over here to wave 2. So now this wave 3, now we can start to have targets. It's a beautiful thing when you have targets. The target shouldn't move much because it's symmetrical. So we have the wave, top of wave 1 down to the end of wave 1 here to the top of wave 2, which is just about even with the former wave 2 that we had marked here. So not much, point or two, but we're looking at 230 being the target there for wave 3. For this wave 3 to complete, and then wave 4 and wave 5 lower. Who knows how long that will be. Wave 5s are tough. They can be super short or super long, as long as wave 3 is not the shortest. But this is a typical move for wave 3. So 230 will be our target there. We'll take off profit and let some runners happen at that point. But in the scheme of things, it's a 1-2, and you have a huge move to the downside that needs to complete over time. All right. VIX. And on the VIX, not a whole lot has changed here. We have the inverse head and shoulders. We have this channel kind of, I'm going to take the channel out because it just doesn't look right anymore. Back testing again. But we can see the moving averages. We're holding this 200 moving average, and we still have these positive structures here. All right. We're digging a little bit closer. So we have higher lows, higher highs. Could that break down? Of course. But in the main scheme of things, if this is going to start reversing, if the market's going to start reversing lower, then we'll see the VIX get back above 19. And we'll see what happens here. But maybe this is some sort of corrective move. Maybe we eke out a new low here. Not sure. Let's see how the day ends. If price starts to just chop, then VIX certainly could fall lower without price in the market doing anything. So that's what we got for you. We're looking for some more clues in the VIX for moves up. Could be an inverse head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, real deep. Not pretty, but we'll see. All right. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.